Today's video explores a development that is quietly reshaping the global balance of power. Intelligence sources now suggest that a recent Chinese military move may change everything we thought we knew about regional security, deterrence, and the future of great power competition. This is not about panic. It is about understanding what is happening, why it matters, and how it could affect people far beyond East Asia. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. We will break this down calmly and clearly. We will look at what changed, how China's strategy has evolved, and why analysts across the world are paying close attention. We will also discuss the humanitarian and economic implications, because military decisions never exist in isolation. They ripple outward, affecting civilians, markets, and diplomacy. Let's begin with the broader context. For decades, China's military posture was defined by restraint and gradual modernization. The focus was on defending borders, protecting trade routes, and avoiding direct confrontation with stronger powers. This approach aligned with China's long-standing strategy of patience. Economic growth came first. Military power followed slowly. That balance is now shifting. According to multiple intelligence assessments, China has accelerated key military deployments and restructured command authority in ways that suggest a readiness for faster decision-making. This is not simply about building more ships or aircraft. It is about how those forces are organized, how quickly they can act, and how they are meant to signal resolve. This is why analysts say the move changes everything. One of the most important elements is timing. The changes come during a period of global uncertainty. Conflicts elsewhere have stretched diplomatic attention. Supply chains remain fragile. Trust between major powers is low. In this environment, even a defensive adjustment can be interpreted as something more. To understand why this matters, we need to look at history. China's modern military doctrine was shaped by lessons from the late 20th century. Observing conflicts abroad, Chinese planners concluded that future wars would be fast, technology-driven, and information-heavy. Victory would depend less on sheer numbers and more on coordination, intelligence, and precision. For years, China worked quietly on these capabilities. Cyber operations, satellite networks, and missile forces were prioritized. Naval expansion followed, especially in nearby seas. None of this was secret, but the pace was measured. What intelligence sources now highlight is a shift from preparation to integration. Recent moves indicate that China has streamlined how its military branches operate together. This allows for quicker responses during crises. It reduces internal delays. It also makes deterrence more credible because potential rivals must assume decisions can be executed rapidly. From a strategic perspective, this alters calculations in capitals around the world. In East Asia, neighboring countries have long relied on predictability. Even when tensions were high, there was a shared understanding of red lines. A faster, more integrated military posture introduces uncertainty. It forces governments to reconsider how they manage risk. This does not automatically mean conflict is more likely. In some cases, stronger deterrence can reduce miscalculation, but it does raise the stakes of any misunderstanding. Global reactions reflect this complexity. In Washington, analysts are debating whether the move is primarily defensive or designed to shift the balance in contested areas. Some argue it is a response to increased military cooperation among other regional powers. Others see it as part of a longer-term ambition to redefine security norms. In Europe, the response is more cautious. Many governments are focused on economic ties with China while also expressing concern about stability. The emphasis there is on dialogue, transparency, and avoiding escalation. In the global south, perspectives vary. Some countries see China's actions as a counterweight to existing power structures. Others worry that increased rivalry will force difficult choices and disrupt development priorities. What often gets lost in these discussions is the human dimension. Military moves at this scale influence everyday life. Shipping routes can be affected, insurance costs rise, investment decisions change. For families living near contested areas, uncertainty becomes a constant presence. Even without conflict, heightened military readiness can strain resources. Funds directed toward defense are not available for healthcare, education, or disaster relief. This is true for all countries involved, not just China. Understanding intent is therefore critical. Intelligence sources emphasize that China's leadership appears focused on deterrence and leverage rather than immediate confrontation. The goal seems to be shaping the environment so that rivals think twice before acting. This is consistent with a broader trend in modern strategy. Power is not only about fighting wars, it is about preventing them on favorable terms. However, deterrence is a delicate balance. It depends on clear communication. When messages are misread, the risk of escalation increases. This is where diplomacy plays a vital role. Channels of communication between militaries are essential. Hotlines, regular dialogues, and confidence-building measures help reduce uncertainty. When these mechanisms weaken, intelligence assessments become even more influential, sometimes filling gaps left by direct engagement. Another key factor is technology. The military move in question is closely tied to advances in surveillance, artificial intelligence, and long-range systems. These tools compress decision timelines. Leaders may feel pressure to act quickly during crises, even when information is incomplete. This creates a new challenge for global stability. Traditional arms control agreements were designed for slower eras. Today's technologies move faster than diplomacy. Updating norms and expectations is difficult but necessary. From an economic perspective, markets are watching closely. Any perception of instability in East Asia affects global trade. Manufacturing hubs, shipping lanes, and energy flows are interconnected. Even rumors can trigger volatility. Businesses respond by diversifying supply chains and reassessing risk. While this can increase resilience, it also raises costs. Consumers eventually feel the impact. There is also a psychological dimension. When intelligence leaks or assessments become public, they shape public opinion. Citizens may feel anxious or confused. Media narratives can amplify fears or oversimplify complex realities. This is why balanced analysis matters. It is possible to acknowledge the seriousness of China's military move without assuming worst-case outcomes. History shows that periods of tension do not always lead to conflict. They can also lead to new frameworks for cooperation. Still, ignoring the implications would be a mistake. The move signals confidence. It suggests that China believes its interests require a stronger posture. Whether others see this as stabilizing or destabilizing depends largely on future behavior and communication. Looking ahead, several trends are worth watching. First is transparency. Will China provide clearer explanations of its intentions? Greater openness could reduce suspicion. Second is alliance behavior. How other countries adjust their own military planning will influence the overall balance. Cooperative approaches could ease tensions, while competitive ones could harden divisions. Third is crisis management. The true test of any military posture is how it performs under stress. Restraint during unexpected incidents will be closely observed. Finally, there is the humanitarian perspective. Preventing conflict is not only a strategic goal, it is a moral one. The costs of war are borne most heavily by civilians. Stability allows societies to focus on growth, innovation, and well-being. This is why understanding these developments matters to everyone, not just policymakers. As viewers, staying informed helps cut through fear-driven narratives. It allows for empathy toward people on all sides who simply want security and opportunity. In closing, the intelligence sources highlighting China's military move are pointing to a real shift. It changes calculations, it challenges assumptions, but it does not determine the future on its own. Choices made by leaders, diplomats, and societies will shape what comes next. The situation demands attention, patience, and thoughtful engagement. History is still being written. How this chapter unfolds depends on actions taken today. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to engage with complex issues in a thoughtful way. If you found this analysis useful, stay tuned for more in-depth discussions that aim to inform, not inflame.